Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Barry Norman on behalf of ETX, and welcome to our class on Gann Fans and other indicators. I hope everybody's having a very good weekend, and I believe it's Spring Bank Holiday tomorrow, Memorial Day in the States, so everybody's going to have a long weekend. So for those of you that are joining us via the World Wide Web, the Internet, and are not part of the ETX family yet, ETX is a regulated provider, and I'm therefore required to give you a risk warning. Trading in the financial markets can result in the loss of the amount invested. Do not trade with funds that you cannot afford to lose, and seek advice if you do not understand the risks. All information that is provided in this webinar is for educational purposes only. ETX Capital and the presenter are not financial or investment advisors and do not recommend any securities or instruments of any kind. Any securities or instruments that are mentioned are for educational purposes only. Now, for those of you who don't know much about ETX, we are a fast-growing financial service company, and we are based in London. You can come by our offices and say hello, or a lot of times you see us on Sky or CNN being interviewed live in the offices. We have world-class technical analysts who are constantly being interviewed by the financial news. We also are a member firm of the London Stock Exchange. On the ETX platform, we offer many different types of ways to trade. You can trade using our web trader, our Trader Pro, which will give you fast trading, no downloads, and the best charts you can possibly want. You can set up trailing stops, limit orders. You can do everything you want as you would do on the MT4 platform. Or you can download our ETX MT4 platform, which will allow you to also integrate expert advisors that you can download for the MT4 platform. And you just pick and select the ones you want through the web and download them and add them directly onto your MT4 platform. You also have advanced charts that do just about anything you can imagine. And also the MT4 platform will actually allow you to build your own automated trading system all on your own with the MT4 platform. And lastly, for those that are new or looking for something else, another way to trade, we also offer the ETX binary platform. So you can trade stocks, commodities, indices, currencies on our platform in many different ways and with different risks. So remember, you have lots of choices. If you're not sure, just contact customer support and they'll be glad to help you get set up on any one of the platforms or all of them if you wish. Now tonight we're going to be talking about Gann Fans and other indicators, because remember, there is no individual indicator that should be your only trading method. There is no one piece of technical analysis. There's not one piece of or one type of tool that you can use that will help you make all of your decisions. So whether you're a fundamental trader, that's somebody who trades from news and headlines and economic reports and speeches, or one who trades from technical analysis, and that's somebody who relies strictly on charts and images and patterns on charts and indicators and oscillators. You should not ignore one for the other. Now, whether you're just whether you want to be a fundamental trader and use a little bit of technical analysis, or you want to be a tactician and want somewhere to start from, you can start building your technical analysis trading systems with some very easy to learn, easy to master tools. Now, technical analysis is simply a method of evaluating securities by analyzing statistics generated by market activity. If you've ever bought an asset or a bond or a mutual fund only to watch it go up and then to go down and then vowed to sell it once you broke even, you might have benefited from learning more about technical analysis and how to properly evaluate the markets. Now, a technician looks to take emotion out of investing by applying rules that usually apply to almost every investment that fluctuates in a free marketplace. A fundamental analyst looks at the economic trends of a company or a country and derives an estimate of a fair value of an asset. If the asset price is lower than expected, he would buy the asset. If it's overpriced, he would sell the asset. But very often technical analysts will skip analyzing assets, prospects, and values and assume that the market is doing all of that for them already. So despite all the fancy tools and exotic tools it employs, technical analysis really just studies supply and demand in a market in an attempt to determine what direction or trend will continue in the future. And that's an important word, continue in the future. In other words, technical analysis attempts to understand the emotions in the market by studying the market itself as opposed to its components. Now, if you understand the benefits and limitations of technical analysis, it can give you a new set of tools and skills that will enable you to be a better trader. Now, the reason we're talking about technical analysis is because Gann Fans and other indicators are all parts of this family called technical analysis. And our premise is that everybody, no matter what type of trader you should be, will use a chart. And there are 3 tools in which you need to have on your chart that have nothing to do with how you're going to trade. It has nothing to do with basically your trading system. Without these 3 tools, you shouldn't even be starting anywhere. So if you're going to use fundamental analysis, that's fine. But you need to be able to look at a chart and tell some story, not what you should trade, tell some story about that asset. Get to understand its personality. Now, these 3 tools are types of charts. Then from types of charts, and that's not even a tool, that's understanding those, we should be able to put a trend line on our chart. We should be able to locate and understand volume. And lastly, we should be able to look at basic support and resistance levels. Now, once you've got that down, whether you want to be a fundamental analyst and trade from Mr. Trump's statements, or trade based on what Janet Yellen or Mark Carney are going to say, or trade depend on what Theresa May, or trade, God forbid, what happened in Manchester this week, doesn't make a difference. None of those types of information will actually tell you where to enter the market, where to exit the market, and where to put your stop loss. Because fundamental analysis basically tells you which direction a market's going to go. But say Theresa May loses the election. Just like Brexit shocked everybody when the vote turned out to leave. Well, we knew the pound was going to take a big hit. But how did we know how far the pound would go? How would we know where we wanted to enter the market? How would we know when we want to leave the market? Because once the votes are out, you need something that's going to help you. And you have to decide what those tools will be. And to understand those tools, you have to get into understanding technical analysis. Because you have all kinds of things like MACD, RSI, stochastics, CCI, average true index. Now, you also have to know what are called leading indicators, what are called lagging indicators, what indicators are considered oscillators, what are bounded and non-bounded indicators. You have to learn all this. Now, if you're not sure about it all, you need to start from a basic premise. So one of the basic tools that you should be able to do is putting support and resistance on your charts. And support and resistance comes in many different ways. Some of the ways we get them are what I use called eyeballing. Then we can get support and resistance from Fibonacci levels. And then we get a third way, which will give us a different support and resistance level. And we get this from Gann Fans. And Gann Fans are one of the only tools that actually has a future, a time and future price movement incorporated in. Because most of the other indicators you have tell you something now, but they don't project the future. Even trend lines. A trend line can be good at the moment and end as soon as it's broken. Where Gann Fans take in consideration many aspects: price, strength, and future price movement. So what we want to do is a good trader tries to establish or find different pieces of information. So if you simply put a stop loss, or I'm sorry, a support and resistance lines on your chart using what I call eyeballing, finding common levels in the past that are important to price and watching for price to bounce off of these levels, that is one way to put support and resistance on your charts. Now, on the chart you're looking at on your screen, it shows you how these combined with interpretation Japanese candlesticks help give you stop loss and stop buy orders and enter and exit points. But this is not using support and resistance alone. It's using it with candlesticks and being able to read those candlesticks. But you can see where over the course of that trading period, 4 times the lower wick of that candle ended at that support line. We can see moving when price moved up. We can see 2 important points. When price was moving up, it touched a resistance line and moved back off of that. But this is really basic support and resistance. Now, many traders consider price action to have special relevance when identifying support and resistance for one compelling reason. The market has actually traded this asset at those levels. Well, these levels are pretty well known, and they're pretty straightforward. But we can find other levels of support and resistance. Because remember, support and resistance show you places where buyers and sellers have hemmed and hawed in the past. So we're looking for clues to other numbers or verification that these particular numbers we're looking at are very relevant. So what element of support and resistance works best? Well, it depends on your strategy. None of the aforementioned support and resistance levels have any predictive behavior. Each is simply a probability that we won't be able to determine until the trade is over. But these levels can help traders build their approach to work with those probabilities, looking to limit risk while maximizing gains. So the meat of the strategy is still very much going to be based around risk management because of the single unifying fact that you'll never know what the next candle on a chart will be. But we want to look at adding a predictive nature or a predictive quality to our charts. And this is one of the biggest benefits of Gann studies or Gann Fans. Gann studies have been used by active traders for decades, but they've grown much in popularity with our new HTML and Java 4 charts or Java 5 charts because we can drop these on very easily onto our charts. It used to be when you had to hand draw them and calculate the 45 degrees and all the other degrees. It was very time consuming. Unless you were really a chartist, you ignored them. But much like Fibonacci levels or Elliott wave patterns, the use of computerized charts has made things a lot easier. And with the growth of retail investing, Gann Fans has become a very popular analysis tool. Gann Fans is also one of the few indicators that moves forward, that has a predictive quality, that takes in time as part of its interpretation. So Gann studies have been used by active traders for decades, and even though futures and stock markets have changed considerably, they remain a popular method of analyzing an asset's direction. New trading areas such as foreign exchange market and the invention of ETFs have also made it necessary to revisit some of the construction rules and the application concepts. But it is with this new online retail trading that they've become so popular. Although the basic construction of Gann angles remains the same. Okay. So the thing about Gann angles is why they work. Okay, now, there are lots of indicators and oscillators out there that don't have any scientific or mathematical backgrounds, or they're just, when we talk of Fibonacci levels, okay, there's really, we have to believe in these, or Fibonacci sequence, because we have to believe in these because they appear all throughout nature. Where Gann angles were developed by Gann, by Elliot, what was his first name? By Gann, I forget his name. And it's all based on angles and movement and sectors in time. So Forex traders who are new to Gann theory often ask which Gann angles are the most effective in predicting price and time movement. The answer depends on the particular market. Finding the most effective ratio is a subjective exercise. Gann angles and indicators are counterintuitive to the proponents of efficient market hypothesis, which holds that past price moves cannot accurately predict future price moves. In fact, Gann theory offers winning predictive tools to traders experienced in their youth. The short explanation about why Gann theory works is that when uptrending prices reverse and then breach and fall below the nearby ascending triangles, those prices will usually then drop down to the next closest angle below. Likewise, when downtrending prices reverse direction, they will breach upward to the next descending angle. Now imagine, it's the same basis we use for Fibonacci levels. When price is moving up and prices moved up, finished an uptrend. Okay. So gold went from $1,200 to $1,300. When gold is coming down, it will most likely retrace down to about 50%. But while it's tracing down, it'll trade down to 61.8, then to 51, and then down to 31.8. And these are the numbers that are on Fibonacci's. Gann fans are on angles, and Gann fans are based on angles where they're put on a relevant top or bottom and projected out into the future. And these relevant angles take in estimation price movement in a matter of time. And they do work. Gann angles are a popular analysis and trading tool that were used to measure key elements such as pattern, price, and time. The often debated topic of discussion among technical analysts is that the past, the present, and the future all exist on the same time on a Gann angle. Okay. Now this is a tough concept because we say, how do we factor in time? Or it's like watching a Star Trek episode, or what's that new TV series, Time After Time, when they're using time machines. And, it's all these, you have to believe this to believe that to believe this. Okay. I can't explain it to you in the scientific and the mathematical end of it. You just kind of have to believe. But although Gann theory is totally explainable, okay, it is all based on mathematics. Okay, and it's based on 45-degree angles. But how the past, the present, and the future, just like when I'm watching an episode of Star Trek and, they're talking about, how they can bend the future to get to this time and then wave, it's a little bit high for me, but they do work. When analyzing or trading the course of a particular market, the analyst or trader tries to get an idea of where the market has been, where it is in relationship to the former bottom or top, and how to use the information to forecast future price action. So Gann fans are based on 45-degree angles that are dropped on your chart. And we do this by using what's called the 1-1 angle. This is the prime angle. And Ganns look like trend lines, but they're not, because they don't end. If price breaks through it, it's not like a trend line. You're not drawing a trend line. What you're doing is you're finding the swing high or the swing low, and then projecting this 1-1 border or this 1-1 line, okay? Or Gann fans are, because they're like fans, like a Japanese fan, but the only thing that counts are these individual lines here, not the area in between. So you then project your 1-1 line out on a 45-degree angle from the swing low or the swing high. Then you have your 2-1 and your 1-2, and then you have your 1-3 and your 3-1, which are the divisions of the 45 degrees. Okay. Now, if you want to be a mathematician to do all the division you can, we used to have to do it years ago, but today when you drop your Gann fan on the 1-1 line, it drops the rest on for you. I'll show you this live in a second. So a Gann angle is a diagonal line that moves at a uniform rate of speed. A trend line is created by connecting bottoms to bottoms in the case of an uptrend and tops to tops in the case of a downtrend. The benefit of drawing a Gann angle compared to a trend line is that it moves at a uniform rate of speed. This allows the analyst to forecast where the price is going to be on a particular date in the future. Now, that's a little bit far out. It can help you predict where you expect it to be in the near-term future, but not on Thursday afternoon or Friday at 1:30 in the afternoon. Okay. This is not to say a Gann angle always predicts where the market will be, but the analyst will know where the Gann angle will be, which will help him gauge the strength and the direction of the trend. A trend line, on the other hand, does have some predictive nature, but because of its constant adjustments that usually take place, it's unreliable in making longer-term forecasts. Because a trend line, you have to remember, becomes invalid. Once the price is broken, okay, through a trend line, that trend line is thrown in the trash. Gann fans do not get thrown in the trash because they're based on this low and a 45 projection angle out. And then when the price is traded between here, it's fine. When price falls down to here, it's fine. When it goes back up to this range, it's fine. You don't throw your Gann fan in the trash. So, as mentioned earlier, the key concept to grasp when working with Gann angles is that the past, the present, and future all exist on the same time on the angle. This being said, the Gann angle can be used to forecast support and resistance, strength of direction, and the timing of tops and bottoms. So let's go over to a real live chart. And, well, there'll be real charts, but the market's closed today, so there's nothing really moving. But let me pop you up charts that I have ready for you here. And we're going to look at an asset with a Gann fan put on there. And then we're going to go over to today to look at the pound US dollar, and we're going to try to drop a Gann fan on there correctly. But as you can see, this is the chart you're looking at right now. These are your Fibonacci levels. Okay. This is your Gann fan. See the 1-2, the 1-1, the 2-1, and it can go all the way out to an 8-1. Now, to put this on a chart, you would locate the significant low. So what we're looking at here is an asset that was trading, had a huge decline, which was unimportant, then is trading in a very congestive mode in a sideways movement. We find the significant low because the market started moving up, and we can then drop our 1-1 line on here on a 45-degree angle. Now, what is 45 degrees? Everybody says, yeah, in the old days, we would sit there with compasses and figure them out. You still need an eyeball it, but you need to get it pretty accurate. But if you remember, 90 degrees is an L shape. 90 degrees is pretty easy to figure out. All you're doing, so if you needed a 90-degree angle, it's pretty easy. And what's 45 is half of 90 degrees. The rest of these will then drop on automatically by the computerized system. So you don't have to go out any farther and figure these out. So let me show you. Here's the pound. We're going to say that this is the strategic high right here. Because we're looking at a 30-minute chart, and this last high before here was back several days before that. So we're going to say this is the strategic high, and you can have many Gann fans on there. But we're going to say this is the strategic high that started this strong-term downtrend here. Now, we're drawing this on before we've actually got this downtrend, but we would be drawing it on when we have that high and we see the market falling. So we come over here and find Gann Fans. And we put our fan right here. We look for our 1-1 and we project it off of that price at 45 degrees. And it has now put our Gann fan on the chart. Okay. So the Gann fan has been put on the chart, and if you notice, it goes automatically. The colors have no meaning, and the only thing we're looking for is the bones. So this system allows us to, you can do it any way you want. You can set them up in multicolors. You can set them up in single colors. You set how you want your Gann fan set up. If you don't want any colors in between, you just want the bone, I use the rainbow, but the white, the gray, the blue, the purple have no more significance than the price zone here. Now, we've drawn this on. We have our 45-degree angle at our 1-1. And it's a little bit hard to see up here. You can see all the numbers right up here. Let me see if I take up this trend line, if it'll just... No. I'm just trying to make it easier for you to see the numbers on... Okay, there we go. So you can see right here, this is our 1-1. This is our 2-1. This is 1-2. And all it's doing, it's automatically dissecting. Once we put our 1-1 on the 45-degree angle, it's going to dissect. This is the 1-3. It goes all the way out to the 1-4 and the 1-8. You can decide not to have all those. You know, unless you're trading from them, you can just wipe them off. So we can get rid of the 1-8, we can get rid of the 1-4, we can get rid of the 1-3. We'll keep the 1-2, the 1-1, the 2-1. And now we have the prime Gann angles. Now, these fans, they're called fans because they look like fans, but again, this area in between doesn't mean anything. The only thing you're looking at, this is your support line or your resistance line. This would be your support line or resistance line, and this would be your support or resistance line. So we can see here where it's been placed on here and projected out into the future, and it was put on here at a 45-degree angle. And again, let's go here and get rid of some of this stuff here. Okay, so now in this case, we're looking at the 1-1 line, which is the dark black line right here, the vein. You can see how price, look at how price held to that 1-1 line moving out into the future. It was dropped on here, and the first time it was dropped on was about here. But the Gann fan went way out into the future, and it was able to predict and help us look at all of that, and then look at that strategic price there. That shadow of the candle came all the way down, touched both the Gann angle as well as the 1-1 angle, as well as the 0 Fibonacci level. Then moving back up here, it didn't react to the Fibonacci, but it reacted to the 1-1. But then we had more with the Fibonacci levels up here, and how this 1-1 is holding more significantly to this. Now, as price moved up and broke out of the 1-1 and went to the 1-2 line, let me just pull this chart back a little bit for you. Okay, so we see price moving back up here. And what happened was the 1-1 and the 1-2 became your new support and resistance levels going out here. And we can see as price moved up how crucial this new vein up here was, and how it was unable to break off of that vein at this point and break above. We had some highs above there, but shadows, but otherwise that new line held us out into the future. The thing about Gann Fans is they can be used in conjunction or connection with many other indicators. And what we're doing here is we're using Fibonacci levels along with our Fibonacci levels along with our Gann lines to get more information on price. We can see here, let me just get the markings off of here and clean this up. Okay, again here we can see the same thing. Here this is a different asset actually. It's not the same chart as you're looking before. Again, we saw a congestion. We had a bounce out of the congestion and move up to an uptrend. We were able to project our 1-1 line out here. That's our dark blue line here. And then we were able to project our Gann Fans into the future. This is the one we were looking at already. Then this one is not mine that you're looking at. Okay, this one is so confusing, but this is used a combination of Gann lines and Gann arcs, which I don't use. I don't even understand exactly what they are. But they're arcs, I mean Fibonacci arcs, but they're arcs in time that go around price. But this is somebody who does a lot of stuff in calculation on charts. I thought I'd share it with you. But let's go back, okay, and talk a little bit more about how we would put these on a chart and more specific rules and stuff. So let me pop up the PowerPoint here. Okay. So using a Gann angle to forecast support and resistance is probably the most popular way they are used. Once the analyst determines the time period he or she is going to trade, and that's something I didn't spend much time with you. You should be using your charts for whatever time period you're trading. Okay. The same rules apply. I find drawing Gann lines on one-day charts work the best, and then I'll move, if you're doing short-term trading like most of us are, then I'll recondense my chart down into my 30-minute or my 1-hour chart. But drawing a Gann line, just like drawing Fibonacci levels, in short-term charts are not as effective. So you can draw them on a one-day chart and then change your chart over and use those same price levels. Because price is price is price. Okay. Now, Gann angles, the 1-2, the 1-1, and the 2-1 look for the main tops and bottoms. This technique frames the market, allowing the analyst to read the movement of the market inside this framework. Uptrending angles provide the support, and resistance angles provide the resistance. Because the analyst knows where the angle is on the chart, he or she is able to determine whether to buy on support or sell on resistance. Traders should also note how the market rotates from angle to angle. This is known as the rule of angles. The rule states when the market breaks one angle, it will move towards the next one. Finally, Gann angles are also used to forecast important tops and bottoms and changes in trends. This is a mathematical technique known as squaring. Okay. And this is one of the best techniques out there. You can combine, again, your Gann Fans with Fibonacci levels, and you can have multiple Gann Fans. Multiple Gann Fans, because like I said, Gann Fans don't go out of time. So you can have a Gann Fan drawn from the last uptrend or downtrend, the last significant high, and then you can have another one from the last significant low. Where these overlap, like you see on this chart, they square off price. So this area, especially this area, was a very, very important area, that price level. So therefore, that price level will be a very important level in the future. But by using this old Gann angle over top of a newer Gann angles, okay, and combine it with Fibonacci, we have price zones or squares that become crucially important. This timing indicator works better on longer-term charts such as monthly or weekly charts. This is because the daily charts often have too many tops and bottoms and ranges to analyze. Like price action, these timing tools tend to work better when clustered with other time indicators. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. To draw a Gann fan, one should select this object and indicate an initial point on a chart. So in other words, you find where the tool is to draw on your charts. And the best way to get the perfect Gann fan, 45-degree every angle, is to use the Gann square tool. Once you've overlaid the square onto your chart, open the setting and make sure all are available and the Gann fan levels are visible. Then make all the arcs and levels not visible. Now, each time you drop the fan, the angle will always be a perfect 45-degree angle without having to measure. In other words, a Gann grid is available at the same place the Gann fan and just drops a grid over top of your charts. So you can easily get the 45 degrees all the time. A properly selected and drawn angle is a form of moving average, but unlike a moving average, it can project out into the future ahead of the price on the chart. Drawing angles correctly and the proper use of the angles is crucial in successful technical trading. Using the correct degree angle is critical to successful trading. Now, the trading methodology for Gann fans has become a very popular tool. That was his name, W.D. Gann. I couldn't remember it earlier in the class. W.D. Gann is a very popular tool used by traders to analyze and understand an asset's direction over time. Just like an old-fashioned Chinese fan when overlaid over the price action of a chart, Gann fans help to determine where key levels are and how weak or strong a trend is over a measured period of time. Not to be confused with trend lines, despite giving vital information about trends, a Gann line is a diagonal linear array that is set to measure a specific amount of change in price versus a specific change in time. By using these levels, investors are better able to determine the strength of a trend and when prices are expected to hit certain highs and lows. A Gann line is a diagonal linear array that is set to measure a specified amount of change. Gann angles are a popular analysis tool, and you should learn them, but you won't learn them in one class. You need to learn how to play with them. You need to learn how to put them on your charts properly. And then you can start using them as part of your charting method. They work extremely well, even if you're just using them as support and resistance. I've never traded them using their time frames. I've always used them for squaring and finding very useful. I always look for my triple header strategy is 3 different support and resistance levels achieved from 3 different tools. And when I see that one price is ultimately important, or one little tiny price area is very important in prior trading with 3 different types of tools, it tells me something, and I use that to make my trading decisions. Now, many traders still draw them in charts manually, and even more use computerized technical analysis packages to place them. Now, you can, and if you're trading with MT4 platform, you can drop a trading expert on there, which will, you just put your little dot on the line and it'll drop your Gann fan and it'll figure out your 45 degrees and everything else for you. Okay. Now a Gann angle, remember, it's a diagonal line that moves at a uniform rate of speed. As mentioned earlier, the key concept to grasp when working with Gann angles is that the past, the present, and future all exist at the same time on the angles. This being said, the Gann angle can be used to forecast support and resistance, strength of direction, and the timing of tops and bottoms. The Gann line are commonly employed technical to discover more potential support and resistance lines. Gann angle is defined as the 1-2, the 2-1, the 1-2, the 1-1, and the 2-1. Okay. The first and the most important line is the 1-1, or the 45-degree line. This line basically is used to represent 1 point change over one measured time period, usually 1 day, as this was traditionally the period of stocks when it was developed. Then for the 2-1 line, which is the 63.75 line, because it's 45 plus a half, it represents a 2-point change over a 1 period of time, and the opposite for the 1-2 is the 26.25. These sound very much like Fibonacci levels, don't they? They're different because they're using 45-degree angles. There are additional popular lines that can be used to assemble the fan, using all the way up to the 8-1 or the 1-8. The 8-1 is the 82.50. What's the crucial line on Fibonacci? You have 61.8 and then 81. And this will give you your 1-1, your 1-2, your 2-1, then you all the way out 3-1, 4-1, 8-1. But as you see, these are linear rays that are on angles as opposed to Fibonacci levels, which are here. But fans are typically established at highs or lows in the price action. After the onset of a reversal or a change in a trend, the idea is that it identifies the past, present, future price action through the use of angles, thus measuring how price and trends evolve over time. Additionally, when both upward and downward fans are combined at levels that define highs and lows over time period is known as squaring. So in other words, you can establish at the top of a new downtrend a fan, then when the price moves down and then starts moving back up, you can then re-establish a second fan at those, and these overlap because like I said, fans don't run out of time. Fans aren't violated. Now, however, this is a more complicated strategy that is used for longer term charts. Using Gann angles to forecast support and resistance is probably the most popular way they are used. Okay. The rest become part of strategies, and you'd have to learn how to apply the strategy. When applying this indicator to a trading strategy, a Gann fan can be especially useful for defining potential entry and exit points. However, the first task is to understand just how bullish and bearish an asset's momentum is. Gann lines that are trending upward are typically used to denote support, whereas Gann lines that are trending downward, resistance. Once one Gann line is broken, the next line becomes the relevant price level. So price scale and timing can vary widely based on the volatility of the underlying asset being traded. Therefore, the time scale that a trader using the Gann fan applies to stocks may not be the same characteristic as those applied using commodities or currencies, meaning the indicator's inputs should be fine-tuned to each asset class it is applied to. So basically, if you're here and you're trading on the ETX platform, you're either trading CFDs, Forex, spread betting, or binary options. And again, I recommend using at least a 1 day and then scan it and bring it down to a 1 hour from there. Okay. But again, the markets are different because a stock doesn't move that much. Okay, where a commodity or a currency moves in pips, and it moves in small percentage-wise of its overall value, but those pips can be very important. And then you'll find that this combined with other support and resistance levels will help give you bullish and bearish entry and exit points. So on that note, I'll say goodbye to everybody. It will take you a while to learn this, but support and resistance is very important. Finding the significant price levels and price action, okay, can be one of your things to use. Okay. Now, if you're not, you don't have to believe in Gann fans. You don't have to believe in Fibonacci's. Okay. I always believe in eyeballing is how I find my primary support and resistance. But when I can put two other indicators on there and they support what I've found, I then feel very comfortable about the price I'm looking at. So take a look at this. Spend some time reading about Gann fans and Gann angles, and then see if you can trade them. Just learn, try putting them on your charts. Play with them a little while. Get them on your charts. Get to understand them, and then decide whether you like them or not. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for being part of ETX, and have an enjoyable long holiday weekend. Good night now.